My name is Faye Steinberg, and I was born and raised in Calgary, Alberta, and I am what's called a psychic medium. My first memories are probably from about the age of 3 or 4, but the story of how I discovered this in some ways begins with me, but without my knowledge. And that is that the day I was born, I was only minutes old, and according to my parents, I gave them this very strange look. My mother said it was a look like that I had chosen them for this lifetime. My mother said it was like I was a really old soul and that I was almost approving them as my parents. And then interestingly, when I was about 12, for many years, I had been singing. I probably started singing long before I could even walk. And for many years, I begged my parents for singing lessons. And for whatever reason, they didn't allow me to do it at that time. Finally, when I was 12, my mother said, "We've agreed, you're gonna have singing lessons." And so my very first singing lesson, I was so excited, and I went and I sang, and my singing teacher looked at me and she said, "You see people, you see things out of the corner of your eye." And I said, "Yes, I do. I have all sorts of things that have happened to me." And then she became my mentor. What's interesting is I'm now what's considered a professional opera singer. She was a professional opera singer. She was obviously giving lessons as well. She was a psychic medium. And it's interesting that everything is vibration, her being a singer, me being a singer, being psychic. There's something about frequency and vibrations, things like that. So it was because of her that she really mentored me and explained to me how things worked and why I was seeing what I was seeing. And so that was sort of the seed of how I became aware of my gift. Something interesting that I don't know that a lot of people know is that in the 20th century, many people such as Einstein, Edison, Tesla, they were in pursuit of the paranormal. And they were coming at it from a scientific point of view, which I think is really interesting in that they were trying to quantify what circumstances that were arising where they couldn't explain things. So Tesla and Edison, actually Edison first created a ghost phone. He tried to create a technology that he could capture voices from the other side. So he actually applied for a patent, and if you look it up, you can see that he's applied for this patent for a ghost phone. What's interesting is Edison kind of gave up, but Tesla sort of picked up from where Edison left off, and Tesla became very interested in trying to pick up on these voices from the other side, so much so that he also built a piece of equipment, and there is a recording of it, of the voices that he caught. Apparently this disturbed him greatly. He was so, I guess, freaked out, for lack of a better word, by what he heard. And to this day, people talk about what did he capture in that recording. One, as a human being, as somebody who can resonate with another person who's going through, let's say, grief or tragedy. You know, the human part of me, the part of me that's a mother, the part of me that's a caring person, you know, when clients come and they're experiencing these emotions, it affects me for sure. And in the early years of when I was doing readings and such, I was new to it. So I would often take my work home with me in a way. I would go home and I'd think about the client that day and what they had been experiencing, and really take on some of their emotions and feel badly, and had to process that. And then, you know, I've been doing this for a very long time now, and because just of the number of people that I see, I still feel very empathetic when my clients come and they're experiencing something that's been impacted them in a negative way. I mean, even when they've had something positive, it impacts me as well. But I've had to learn to be more of a conduit between myself, the other side, and them, so that I can help facilitate. I'm a facilitator to bring those messages from the other side, give it to my clients, and really giving them some peace of mind, giving them just a little bit of a break almost in their grief. I would now like to invite you into Mystic Manor. Please follow me. The history of Mystic Manor begins in 1905 when the Robertsons family came to High River and they built this beautiful home. And that is the beginning of the story. And throughout the time, there's been a number of different families that have lived here. And in 2005, our family had an opportunity to purchase the farm, the houses. There's more than one house here. And then in 2022, my husband and I had an opportunity to take the house back. And we had tenants living here, and we renovated the property because it was always my dream to open a year-round haunted house experience, but it obviously needed to be in a real haunted house. So when I came to see the property in 2022, I stood in the kitchen here and I heard a voice that said, you need to fix the house and you need to love it again, and this is the perfect place for you to have your Mystic Manor. On a tour at Mystic Manor, what you're going to experience is a multitude of different rooms. Each room has unique items. Each room has had different events happen in them. The room in behind me, we had a funeral held in 1907. We also had a young man, a farmer, back in the 1920s. He bled out in this room behind me. All of the rooms have different stories to tell, and so when you do a tour here, you're going to experience each of those rooms. You're also going to have an opportunity to do a little bit of ghost hunting, and because I'm a psychic medium, you're also going to see me interacting with the spirits if I see them. Everybody is affected differently in this house. People have fainted, people have run out of the house screaming, and some people never want to leave. So your experience will be unique to you. This is what's called a REM pod. So when you come to Mystic Manor, there's a number of pieces of ghost hunting equipment that we get to use in some of the rooms. Now, every good ghost hunter wants to hear and see all of those lights going off because it means we are making contact with the other side. So it's going off right now because I'm holding it, but I'm going to set it down here. It's going to recalibrate. It should recalibrate. There we go. So it's recalibrated. Now, the only way for it to go off is if something goes close enough to it. Even though I'm sitting relatively close, I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, so you even see how close I am? The only way for it to go off is for me to get this close. Okay? So ghost hunting is a little bit like fishing. Sometimes you'll sit at a fishing hole for 8 hours and you won't even get a single bite. Ghost hunting can be a little bit like that. And those ghost shows that you watch, they don't often show you well, they can't show you all the hours and hours and hours that they sit waiting and hoping that something will trigger the REM pod. The very first time I came into this room, I heard a very distinct voice say, "This is Lily's room," and she loved dolls. And I thought, okay, this needs to be the doll room then. So what's interesting about that is that the original owners and builders of the home, their great-grandchildren came here to visit us. And they both, the two great-grandchildren came into this room, and the one became a bit emotional, and he said to me, "How did you know that this room should be filled with dolls?" He said this was Aunt Lillian's room. And Lillian was one of the original owner's daughters, and her nickname was Lily. So that's what I had heard. But what was interesting is that he said that she died at 93 years old, and the room that she died in looked almost identical to this room. He said even the way that I'd set it up. So they were really overcome by seeing how I had set up the room. This is what's called a spirit box. So we have to remember that everything is energy, everything is frequency. So radio waves put out a frequency. And what's interesting about the radio is that it can intersect with the spirit world, and we can capture spirit voices. So I'm going to turn this on. What you're going to hear is you're going to hear hundreds of radio stations quickly skipping. And it's kind of like skipping a stone across a pond. As it skips, you actually get the voice. And
we might stand here and get nothing, but we might get a voice, and we had turned it on a minute ago and I did hear one, so I'm curious to see what we'll get.
She was a brilliant young woman, and they put her in an insane asylum and gave her a partial lobotomy. That's who's communicating with us right now. Eva, you like it when I come into this room, don't you? Should I do anything else with the room? No. You like the room the way it is, right? Do you like how I've hung the dress and the clothes? Oh, maybe not. What about the person who we come up here often and this corner of the bedspread is pulled back? Yes, it's you. You're the one that pulls the bed back? Okay. Why it is so crucial for people to come to Mystic Manor and experience the paranormal is because here, the house, I always say, has 4 levels to it. So the house itself has its own energy and personality. That's the first level. The second level is that the house has so many spirits from so many different eras. The house was built in 1905. We know quite a few deaths happened here on the property, and so we have a lot of spirits. We are also a block and a half from the Highwood Cemetery, and wandering spirits often find their way here into Mystic Manor. And the third level is that we have a lot of haunted objects in Mystic Manor. Over the last 25 to 30 years, I have been collecting really haunted items, relics, and they each bring their own unique energy. So, and then the 4th level is when we're doing a tour, I always tell people that they're also bringing their loved ones with them, and we can sometimes connect with them during one part of the tour where we do a seance. So that's why there's so much paranormal activity here. I also think that we've created a little bit of a portal that has happened here. Not to forget that the basement in 1905 to about 1910 was used as a temporary morgue. So again, you've got a lot of death in the house. And with death comes spirits, and so we have a really amazing opportunity to connect with all the different spirits in the house. People get to come here and they get to experience the paranormal. Everyone experiences the paranormal differently. You might see something, hear something, even smell something. We don't have air fresheners pumping scent into rooms, but people often swear that I've got fresh flowers in some of the rooms. And the ghost hunting equipment that we use, we have different pieces, and on your tour you get to see how those work, and sometimes we get to pick up on a ghost. We'll either see them, we'll either hear them, and we are able to capture evidence of them while they are here. Thank you for visiting Mystic Manor, a truly unique paranormal experience. My name is Faye Steinberg. Have a mystical evening.